Yes, people, how we all doing? Welcome back to another panel show. Hope you're all doing very well. Am I unmuted? Yeah, I think I'm unmuted. Is everybody else unmuted?
Yeah, you're unmuted, bro.
All right, yeah, you can unmute everybody else. Yeah, listen, everybody, welcome back to another panel show, your weekly installment of a collection of City fans who are going to talk about whatever's going on this week. Before we get started into the ins and outs and the topics of conversations we want to have, please smash that like button and subscribe if you're new around here. We've got Daps from Never a Foul, we've got Amos from City Report Pod, and then we've got, why isn't the name on screen? The wise old owl, Martin from the Mancunian Way. He's calling himself the wise old owl.
No. You started that yesterday, so I'm just following it on.
Hey, I was saying you're not even that old, mate. I was just saying you're wise.
You went down the ages road yesterday. You were going down the ages road. You said me and Steve were really old. You know, we were getting our pension, we were getting walking sticks, everything.
Hey,
that.
You're putting words in my mouth, mate. I was complimenting you for your
I'm not lying.
It's terrible form that Hugh. You've proper upset Martin there.
Poor form.
Terrible ageist.
If you went to a Chinese restaurant, you look like the type that would probably serve the crispy aromatic duck without shredding it first. Absolute knobheads. Absolute knobheads. How am I supposed to eat this now?
Just eat it, just like all in one. Just bite out of it. Yeah.
Pancakes and the sauce, and like throw some sauce, slap pancakes in my face, and just live on the stream. Brilliant.
The important things in life, isn't it? That guy.
Yeah, these first world problems.
Crispy duck is not cooked.
More important things.
We could have lost 3 in a row.
Yeah. More important things like where we're going to start with tonight, and the most recent news. It's the FA Cup draw. The FA Cup fourth round, I believe it is the fourth round. Yeah. We have drawn one of the two teams and venues I did not want. Me and Jordan were doing the live reaction to the FA Cup draw last night, and we were saying, oh, maybe Bolton away would be kind of fun if they're to beat Luton. There's plenty of, obscure...
Wrexham would have been
Wrexham would have been sick.
Wrexham would have been sick. There was loads of places where, new places to go. You know what I'm saying? Not a Premier League ground, and absolutely not Anfield or Tottenham. But we have to go to Tottenham. 9,500 tickets. It looks like we're going to get as well, which is quite appealing.
But Huey, the problem is we've already said we can take an army down there. But you know what'll happen? It's City Tottenham. You know what day that's on?
What?
It'll be Sunday, 4:30 kickoff.
Yeah.
And that's already in the groups I'm in. Everyone's going, if it's a Saturday, we're making a day of it. If it's a Sunday, it's just another Sunday, 4:30 kickoff. But then the fact that it's at their ground where we haven't even scored, is it really that, just annoying, isn't it? But we'll still all go, so.
I think I'll go.
Yeah.
How do we feel about it, lads? Do we feel confident about getting our first goal? Never mind our first win.
I'm confident with it.
You're so weird, Martin.
You're
so unconfident about some things, and then go to the ground we haven't scored at, where we get beat every time. You're like, I'm confident.
No, because this is not the Tottenham of old.
Oh, what, the Tottenham shit? Well, this Tottenham's good now.
Because listen, I don't do this superstitious crap. We'll go to Anfield, we'll go here, we'll never win. So that's going to change. And Tottenham play open, expansive football. And when was the last time we played Tottenham? Yeah. When did we play Tottenham at their place in the second half of the season?
Last season. Last season, me and Hughie remember it well. Yeah,
it was January. January time.
We're playing them in January this time as well. January the 27th.
No, I'm confident. No, I'm not having it. I'm not. Why are we scared of our own shadows? We've won 5 trophies in 7 months.
Some things just can't be changed, though. Tottenham away is
it is a thing. Spurs away is a thing where we don't score. But I don't know. I feel different about it, me, you know. Like every season, I'm like, we're never gonna score there, write it off. But I don't know what's to say this can't be the time that we go and score there. Why does it have to be just another? Now we ain't gonna score there, and they don't even have Heung-min Son.
Maybe not unless they get knocked out. Then they might.
Bayern Munich, everyone was scared. Real Madrid, everyone was scared.
No, we weren't.
Yes, they were. Heritage. How many times do you that word heritage?
Yeah.
Oh no, heritage.
No,
we're not doing it.
Yeah, so many times. The amount of streams that we did where people were saying that the heritage of Real Madrid, you don't know what it's going to be like at the Bernabeu, things like that. Like people saying that they're going to roast us and that. And look what we did last season, man.
You can't apply heritage to Tottenham Hotspur anyway. That's probably
it's a weird one. I get what you're saying. I was about to say I'd rather play Real Madrid than Tottenham. It sounds fucking mad, but I would.
I mean,
Daps is in this weird thing this season. You can tell he's in this weird thing. Of like, because some games you're like really like, and other games you're like, nah, we're shit, forget it. We're just not doing it.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're in a weird. We're all in that weird thing this year.
Look, Tottenham. It will be a Sunday. It's just minging. It just reminds me of it's the worst moment of last season. Huey, you remember it well. You were throwing up green stuff on your flight on the way.
I was with Amos. As well.
Yeah, that was brutal, man. That was brutal.
It was just a minging trip, and then the hangover was the worst hangover I've ever had because it came with 115 charges. It was the worst hangover ever.
It's like you wake up and you regret you can't remember what happened the night before. You check your phone and then suddenly City have been charged by the Premier League.
I'd rang in work, phoned in sick. I was that bad, and I'm getting messages off of every channel. Are you free to come on to talk about the news? I'm what that City lost to fucking Spurs. That ain't news. That's not news.
You said no to all of them and left me to do them.
I did say no to a few, and then said, Huey, any chance you could, with your hungover self, go and face this mad Jordanian that's got against me?
Look, in pursuit of another treble, if that is even a real possibility, we do have to overcome Tottenham away. Or I said on the stream last night, an outcome I'd be perfectly happy with: a 0-0 draw. Take them back to the Etihad and beat them in the replay. The hoodoo continues. We've never won or scored there, but we still go through to the next round. But look, as Martin said, they are a different Tottenham. They're playing a totally different style of football to what Conte and Mourinho and all these managers did that we couldn't score against. But they have added Timo Werner. So, watch out for that, lads. Do we all jokes aside, I don't
know whether you're being serious or sarcastic with that when you're saying that.
That's up to you. It's up to you to decide. Do we feel confident about going to Tottenham this time round? Does it feel any different for any of you, or is it just no?
Until it happens, I'm always going to be no. Until I see City actually, and I feel like I'm going to have to be there to see it with my actual real life eyes, and then wait for any VAR check and then the full time whistle. Until it actually happens, I will just assume that it will never happen.
You're a glass half empty guy, though, Amos.
Absolutely. I mean, glass half empty. Jesus Christ. I mean, I'd probably say like glass 1/8 full, if anything. But no, I think, to be serious, it is an opportunity for City to really get that. I don't know if professional footballers believe in hoodoos. I'm not one, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. But it does feel like an opportunity for them to get rid of it and just be like, oh yeah, you know what, we can do it. A little bit like Anfield, because even though we won there in COVID, that still seems to be a place City struggle going. So I think those two stadiums are probably the ones that City need to get a win at soon.
And for that reason, we do need to do it because we've got to go there in the league as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I'd rather go there in the FA Cup and get a bit more experience.
And that league game's the 20th of April.
Do you know what it is with me? And it does. Listen, I get it. I get City-itis. I get it's typical City. I know all the cliches that'll roll out. But name me another football club that would win everything we won in 7 months and then be scared of cup draws.
There isn't one. That's the beauty of it, though.
No, this is
That's the beauty
of
it.
I'm baffled on it because I sat there, said they were showing, I went, hang on a minute, and everyone was like, we're out. Just like that. We're not scoring. We're not getting a shot.
We're out. We're going, but we're out.
And it was funny because then I went, how do you think Spurs are feeling? Spurs would not have been happy to get Manchester City in that FA Cup draw either. But the KDB
true.
But their fans are online going, yeah, we own you. And this is the maddest thing. It's like, we're like, yeah, you do. But you don't own any fucking trophies. It's just, it is a mad one. The thing is, I was even like, remember with the Champions League, we were always favourites. Before we'd won it, every season, favourites to win the Champions League. And it used to do my head in. Because I'd be like, why? We haven't won it. We've reached, like, we've been knocked out by Lyon. We've been knocked out by Monaco. Why are you making us favourites and putting that extra pressure on? You know, we're favourites still to win the FA Cup as well. So despite the bookies are looking at it going, City, Tottenham, let's look at the form there. They're looking at the form and go, yeah, City favourites. And we're still the favourites. I do think the Son thing's a big deal. I think
it is.
I think the Son thing is a major deal.
Yeah, and it's like some Liverpool fans are saying, you know, Salah will be back soon. No, Salah's gone over there to try and win that. Right, Salah hasn't gone over there to try and go out. Son, 100% in career, usually go quite far. So I think if they get knocked out, he could be home 2 days before the game. But I think they will go. So not having Son, I think that'll be a big deal. It's interesting because they look like they're buying a few players. Mm-hmm. They might have them, but I don't know. It'll be. I guess we need to get over this as fans because I do think our energy off the pitch probably does kind of slightly convey on the pitch.
It does. But my thing with this game in particular is, look, in terms of the competitions that we're left in, I do like the FA Cup, but it's the least of my priorities. I'm kind of thinking more in terms of, look, when we go to Tottenham away in the league, it falls in that really, really serious period. We got Tottenham away, you got Liverpool away, you've got Arsenal at home, we got United at home. That March-April period is huge. And I think if we were to go to Tottenham at the end of this month, albeit in the FA Cup, and get your first goal, hopefully a few, and get your first win there, all of a sudden you've broken the duck, as they say, whatever the phrase is, for when you go there, for when it matters that bit more in the league game. So I think there's a bit more playing on this fixture in January than just qualification for the next round. It's actually an opportunity for City to achieve something that will hopefully benefit them further down the line in the league. So, I mean...
Does this tell anyone? They've just released this literally just now.
What is that?
Tottenham's new signing.
Is it?
Hold on.
It's Werner, isn't it?
Oh, they just announced Werner.
Timo Werner. That's scaring anyone? Maybe? No, me neither.
No.
I get the whole side of it of the no goal scored there, and that is a concern. It is a concern, and that's why we all acted the same way when we got top. Well, most people acted the same way when we drawn against Spurs, but. Why can't this be the time that we score against Tottenham? Do you know what I mean? Why can't this be that one where we go there and beat them? Like, I know it sounds like delusion to me thinking like, but
it sounds mad that we're saying it, European champions, world champions sat here.
Like Martin said before,
yeah, we're a team that can't win trophies.
Why should we be scared of Spurs?
City,
given everything City have just done, we shouldn't be scared of Spurs. And Martin said that about going on that winning run. I think this could be the start of that winning run.
Yeah. I mean, look, there are reasons. The fact that we've played them recently and at home where we actually are better, and I still scored a fucking last minute goal and we didn't win. The fact that we haven't scored at the ground, the fact that they potentially look better than they have done in previous seasons.
Mm-hmm.
They'll want this trophy as well, I reckon. This is an opportunity for them to win a trophy.
But then, in hindsight, maybe that works in our favour. The fact that this time it is a different thing. I watched their game against Burnley last week in the FA Cup, and it don't look like they're taking it that serious, to be honest with you, because they look really bad. Apart from obviously the Pedro Porro rocket, apart from that, they look really, really bad. You know what? I actually do think it's probably the perfect draw for us because, like Huey said, look, I'm not downplaying the FA Cup. Love the FA Cup. I know Martin loves the FA Cup, but
I get in trouble.
I prefer the Premier League and a chance to put ourselves against them before it gets to that really important time and get that psychological advantage over them. A bit like Liverpool did with Arsenal. I feel Liverpool beating Arsenal the other day means they can go back to the Emirates knowing we've already beat you once without Salah. So I think if we can go there and I don't know. I do hear what you're saying. It could be the start of a run. We've got De Bruyne back, and I think we've got a bit of rest before. I've just read up. I think City are going to. I think we play Newcastle. Then we're dipping off to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, they got Newcastle.
Yeah.
2 or 3 days off, and then they're all coming back to go to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. So and Club World Cup that worked, didn't it? We went off. You know what? That's always seemed to be a thing with City, even when we've had bad results. I remember under Vinny, when Vinny was captain a few times. I think one time we took him Laser Quest or something and just had a bit of time together to kind of chill out before you come back and face the mighty Tottenham in the FA Cup.
Yeah, well, hopefully by the time we get to that Tottenham game, we'll have a fully fit squad. I mean, Haaland's not too far off return as well. And big up Jarhead here for the super chat. He says Spurs won't have their full squad, I believe, and KDB will be itching to make an impact. Yeah. KDB, you'd like to think, will be almost close to full fitness at that point. He'll have got more minutes under his belt against Newcastle, I'd like to think, whether it's a start or whether it's a cameo. He'll go to Abu Dhabi. Is there a game? No, it's straight after Newcastle. The next game is actually Tottenham away. So maybe he'll be
with a week
maybe
off,
not fully fit, but he'll be fitter. Big up Jarhead for the super chat. And then 55 of the 50 months says, baffles me how anyone thinks we're going to do anything against Spurs. Never even scored a goal. Other embarrassing record only hope is a replay. That's what I was saying. A 0-0 draw maybe and take them to the Etihad. But I think it's a massive opportunity, 55, for us to shake that hoodoo off in regards to their stadium. Looking forward towards, or bearing in mind the league game in a couple of months' time, which is at a crucial stage of the season. Congratulations.
And it is one of the two crucial ones because we've got Arsenal at the Etihad. We've got Chelsea at the Etihad. We've got who's the other one? There's someone else up there. United at the Etihad. But Spurs and Anfield, Spurs and Liverpool, our two cursed grounds. We've got business end of the season. So I do think getting a bit of we need to get a run together ultimately. And these are the type of games now where we need to be winning them. So.
Dan Trelius for the 10 months. Congratulations on the 10 months. He says, hot take, City scoring a goal at Spurs away is better achievement than the treble.
Pep said, wasn't it? What Pep said. I think when Pep got asked.
Direct quote.
Yeah, that was what he said, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
And he got asked, what can we achieve next season if we do the treble? He said, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
This is a side
goal at Spurs.
He's on a side quest. This has to be the main side quest, scoring a goal at Spurs.
Yeah, then he leaves.
Yeah, then he leaves.
I've completed football.
Pick up for the member chat and the super chat. Make sure you've hit the like button, people, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're going to move on to. I want to talk before we do about Newcastle. I want to reflect a bit on the Huddersfield game, the 5-0, because people saying, "Oh, don't gas it up." It's only Huddersfield. As I said yesterday, there is a lot of things to take away to be excited about, and I think the main one that we have to talk about is the return of Kevin De Bruyne. And I know it took him 20 minutes to register an assist. The Belgian boys link up, Doku and De Bruyne. I think, and I said this, and I want to have an open chat about this. I said this yesterday that, whenever we have a league winning campaign or major trophy winning campaign, we always look back on the season and go, what was the turning point? What was the moment where it clicked and City went into, champion mode, that champion kind of zone? I think I believe we'll win the league this season. I really do. And I believe when we do, we'll look back on maybe that Huddersfield game or this period where Kevin De Bruyne is finding his feet again and say, that was the defining factor. I mean, I think it's in the title of this stream. KDB, our key to success. I believe he is. I know he's not been given the captain's armband. I don't know, do any of you guys want to share opinions on that? But his return and his gradual return to full fitness, for me, is absolutely paramount to us winning the league.
I think on the armband thing, I'm not a fan of Walker as captain so far, right? But you know what? This time last year, I was actually not a fan of Gundogan as captain. I remember the Tottenham game at the Etihad that we won 4-2, first half where we were 2-0 down. I remember focusing on Gundogan and him having his head in the ground, not talking to anyone and being really critical of him. But I don't know if maybe De Bruyne coming back and not having the armband is because I've never thought De Bruyne as an actual captain has been that great. But just De Bruyne coming back, I think will have taken so much pressure off of Walker that it's almost like he's senior members of the team back. And that's the way we operate ultimately. We have 4 or 5 seniors that are the captains, and I think
committee, innit?
Yeah, and Walker's got one of the main guys back that as for him coming back, it's everything everyone to do with the club needed. Like, you saw the players when we arrived over in Saudi Arabia, the way they reacted to it, they needed it. It was a bit of a lift. It's pressure off of everyone. There's no pressure on any, like, the pressure's been lifted. For the fans, we needed it. Like, you saw it when he warmed up against Sheffield United, just warming up. The Premier League were fearing it. We were cheering. And then when he came on the other day, it was goosebumps again. And I think even, like, as far as our midfield, if you think about it now, with Rodri, De Bruyne, Foden, or we could go Rodri, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva. And all of a sudden, it looks like we've got that extra player to make sure that we always have a solid midfield. And I kind of like Newcastle. I was thinking about, do we start him or don't we start him? I think it's quite a good thing to not start him, because we can go there and be the City we've been recently without De Bruyne. But no, we now have a secret weapon again. And I remember there was a couple of seasons ago when he came back from injury, and I'm pretty certain it was an Everton game where we weren't looking too great, and De Bruyne came on and scored 2. And that's the type of thing we now have again, all of a sudden. And the thing that I loved last in the Huddersfield game from De Bruyne was how much running he was doing and how much work he was putting his body through. Mm-hmm. His assist, the way he I think he laid the ball into Bob, wasn't it? Yeah, it was into Bob, and then put the burners on straight away and actually sprinted. And to see that he's that confident already in his own body to be able to get there. And there's a reason why the Premier League are fearing him. There's a reason. You saw even Haaland on the bench looked so damn excited, knowing I've got this guy back. And I just think it's pressure off of the whole football club. And even, have you seen the interview with De Bruyne talking about what he's been doing while he's been off? Just living a normal life, taking his kids out and whatever. I think we're getting a refreshed De Bruyne, because I don't think we've ever seen that when he's been injured before. When he's been injured before, it's always been like he looks like he's being almost rushed to get back. Whereas this time, it was almost, I remember saying on the stream that it was like Pep might have said to him, go and enjoy yourself. You've had your operation, you've had your surgery, it's healing well. Go and enjoy yourself with your family for a couple of weeks, for a couple of months, because when you come back, we're going to need you. And it's like he's got this even his hair looks longer than it ever could have grown before.
Well, like the boost it's given the club as a whole, is like for us as fans, it's unbelievable. I mean, Amos and Martin, and I know, I'm pretty sure both of you were at the Sheffield United game, and so was I. He didn't come on the pitch, but you heard the noise if you're in the stadium for when he just went out to stretch his groins and his hamstrings. Just when he went out for a moment, you can see how much impact just his presence alone in and around the squad has. I mean, Amos, as fans, it gives us massive excitement. But I think even when you saw him come on against Huddersfield, the players looked a bit excited to play with him again.
Yeah, I reckon for the next however long De Bruyne is at City for 2-3 years, we just give him the first half of the season off every season, because it looks like it, like you say, Daps, it looks like it's done in the world of good. And that's and I'd go back to Istanbul, and obviously he had in terms of the team was ecstatic and the achievement was incredible, but for him it was tinged a little bit with his own sort of injury worries, and I think he'd have genuinely loved to have been on the pitch at full time, or at least played a part in City winning that game. As it goes, it doesn't happen, and that will always be something for him to sort of tick off himself personally, to sort of play a part in the Champions League final.
Very good point.
But he just sort of dragged himself towards that point. He came out afterwards and saying he was playing on basically one leg with this hamstring problem, and he really sacrificed himself. And I don't think City supporters will ever take that for granted. But to have that time off, I don't think can be understated enough. And without being too over the top, I reckon it could potentially elongate his career, or at least to sort of some degree save his City career. Because had he sort of, come back at the start of the season. I maintain he was rushed back a little bit too early without obviously having any medical experience. It just didn't feel right. He didn't play any part in pre-season. Suddenly he's starting at Burnley. But, you know, he'd have played this season. He might have picked up a month-long injury and, you know, he'd been in and out of the team had he sort of been able to maintain that. But now he's had, 3 months off. He's looking, you know, you can always tell with someone, they just look happy. He looked a little bit drained last year, and understandably so. The pressure was incredible, and obviously he had personal problems, as we know about as well. But he just looks radiant, and if we can get anything close to the form of the second half of last season, then it could be another incredible second half of the campaign for City.
I mean, look at this stat, right? Kevin De Bruyne has the most assists of any player in Europe's Big Five leagues in all competitions since the start of last season, which is 30 assists. He's only made three appearances this season. How?
It is one of them things where, like, I don't know what the top assist in the Premier League is this season. It's probably Salah, isn't it? Is it Salah? Imagine.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, De Bruyne will eye that up and think, achievable.
Salah on 8.
It's on 8,
Salah
yeah.
on
You
8.
can break that.
De Bruyne's like, I can. And do you know what? Even little things like, did you see where he picked up the ball at one point and he kind of scooped it up a little bit and then had a shot? And I thought,
Mate, he was taking the mitt then, wasn't
he? He scooped it up.
When he flicked it up to himself.
Yeah, but it was like he was finding his range. And all right, it didn't rattle the woodwork or anything. But it's like, if away from the fact of how it felt as a City fan and having him back, his performance was good as well. But I also think that the rest of the players around him, they rise because they're like especially some of the younger lads were like, we're playing. And I think it was very fitting that him and Doku came on together, and the assist for Doku as well. And do you know what? That was a damn good pass. And it shows what Doku did there was reminding me slightly of Raheem Sterling in that when a lot of players were moving towards the goal, he kind of hung back a little bit and said, no, there's a lot of space here. And it just made me think, that's the key. When we get back a fully fit squad and we have Haaland, and remember, that's a Haaland, so there weren't defenders marking Haaland, and Doku still found all of that space. You think about it, when you've got De Bruyne, and you've got Haaland in the box, Alvarez in the box, Foden in the box, Bernardo Silva in the backs, maybe Walker overlapping, and we've still got Doku, who might have that intelligence, a bit like Sterling, to go, no, I'm just going to find this extra bit of space back here. It's frightening. It's exactly what we needed. But then Newcastle was a bit of a mad game as well.
Would you?
Yeah, but think about it this way. I know people talk about runs. We're already in the middle of a run. In old comps, we've unbeaten in 8 and we've won 7 out of the last 8.
I love that.
We're on a 5-match winning run right now. So the trouble is, the reason no one's talking about it is because you're playing the dog and duck.
Yeah,
you turn around and playing the white hat. You are not going to play. There's only 5 or 6 top teams in the Premier League. So is everyone else the dog and duck? You know what I mean? You can only beat what's put in front of you. This is why when people throw that analogy out and get all, Luton Town, Luton Town are causing a problem at Kenilworth Road for everyone.
Everton have been on good form.
Everton good form. You
talked
about a turning point. I think the Goodison Park game's a turning point. To go there and do what we did. Regarding the captains, I think I didn't understand why we had a committee. I now see why. Because there isn't one player that does everything that you need out of a captain. KDB is a captain, but he's a field mouse on that field, on that pitch. Doesn't want to talk. Diaz is the same. Doesn't really want to talk. Walker, then you hear about giving them all the rollicking in the dressing room. So this is the problem. It's like he's chosen 5 players that have all got leadership qualities, but want to, mold into the perfect captain. But they
make a collective captain altogether.
We sort of gone right. All 5 of you are. Because
I think you and I were talking on it. I was saying that Walker's got this certain arrogance about him and confidence about him, and I kind of had to get this in my head because when I was being critical of Walker, I thought, hold on, but Walker has been here as one of the seniors, one of the committee for years, and has always played a key role in that. The fact that Pep allowed him to speak before the Champions League final speaks volumes. I always think that, especially your younger English contingency, 100% all look up to him, right? He's been here from, Walker's been here since Pep's first trophy. Walker has been here. Walker's seen every trophy that Pep has seen. Kyle Walker's been there by the side of him.
You put it earlier on down, the best stat ever. 27 years old, Spurs, 0 trophies.
Yeah.
34, 17, 18 trophies. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Mad.
That's it. Stat over, game over.
Yeah.
I also like
that point.
I like the idea of having leaders, captains all over the pitch, because whilst it's great to have your like a Roy Keane type, the main man in the dressing room, who everyone looks as he's the superior person in the dressing room,
and then slags off 20 years later.
Exactly. But I think, having Bernardo Silva in the attack as one of the leaders that people look to, having Rodri or De Bruyne in the middle of the park, the engine room, as leaders, and you've got Kyle Walker and Ruben Diaz in the defense, known leaders. You've got leadership all around the park. So it's not just like, oh crap, there's 10 players needing motivation, let's all turn to Kyle Walker and see what he can do. No, there's responsibility on the other 4 players in that leadership group who are experienced, know how to win. You also play a role in making sure this team is where they need to be. So look, I think, I don't know, would Kyle Walker be all of your first choices for the captain's armband as fans, maybe in the chat? I don't know. But as me and Jordan said earlier on, look, the players voted for this. They know better. Pep Guardiola knows better than us. We can't argue with that. So it just is what it is. We're going to have to keep rolling with it. Professional again, we get for the 10 man. He says, look, my plastic fans, no soulless, corrupt 115 charters, Abu Dhabi, oil funded, ref Leicester City is starting to click. This is the time we keep breaking records and finally break the curse. Long live oil. Big up. And he also follows up by saying, hit that like button, you freeloaders. Big up, professional idiot, man. Always showing love. And if you haven't done so already, people, make sure to hit that like button. Massively, massively appreciated all of your support, guys. Let's move it on to Saturday. Massive game. Obviously, I've gone over in depth. I think I said on the show last week that the next kind of 8 weeks of fixtures are quite favourable in terms of you'd expect you to win them. You could probably make the exception for that idea with St. James's Park. I know they're not playing their best right now. Someone in the chat said they're missing Joe Linton for up to a month, which is a big blow for them because he's
That's a good one.
Big blow. Big blow.
Yeah,
against us in the Carabao Cup, he was very good. He was breaking down a lot of our play. I know
last time we went there was 3 each in the league, so we haven't actually won there in a couple of years. There's a bit of a hoodoo developing maybe with St. James's Park that we also need to start looking into. But how, Amos, I suppose we'll start with you. How do you feel about this Saturday night? Obviously 5:30 kickoff, I believe. Big game, really, really big game, significant.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was you yesterday on one of the streams or someone else was listening to. Sorry about that. But I think it's a massive game. And I think the fact that this now comes in January. I mean, Tottenham away is Tottenham in the FA Cup. I think if on the day it will feel like a big match. But if the next day City have lost, we go, okay, fair enough. Throughout the FA Cup, it is what it is. These 2 big trophies to focus on. But this being one of 2 Premier League matches in January, the other being Burnley at home on the 31st of Jan. So basically, this is the only Premier League match between now and the end of the month. I think it's massive. And I think going back to the sort of what you were saying, Martin, I totally agree. The second half at Everton was a potential season changer in terms of shifting the momentum, because I think the City of 2-3 weeks earlier go and draw that game or go and lose that game and we're going, oh, we played really well but we've dropped points yet again, whereas that City went out in that second half and they got a win. And I think that's the performance we need to see, that those European champions, the teams that went to the Bernabeu and stifled it, the team that went to the Allianz and stifled it, a team that you would back to go away from home anywhere and get a result. Now obviously last season in the Champions League that usually entailed a draw, and I don't know whether or not I'd say yes to a draw right now at Newcastle. I think given their injuries, just looking through it, obviously Tonali's out, Callum Wilson's probably going to be missing, Nick Pope is going to be missing, Willock might not be there.
100%.
Yeah.
He looked good the other day today.
Yeah, he made a couple of saves, didn't he? But he's a backup still. I think it's a massive game.
Best away record in the league.
Who City have? Have we? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with that.
They're the best away record in the whole league.
I wouldn't be surprised with that. Look, the thing is,
So I mean, I've never. Maybe you asked earlier.
No, it's hindsight.
I've never got the meltdowns.
Hindsight's a beautiful thing, and like, you know, at the moment, obviously on Never a Foul, we've been talking a lot on Arsenal and Arsenal's form, losing their last 3 games, and people were constantly in the comments going, well, you know, it wasn't that long ago City were in the mud. Let me remind you, our in the mud was drawing games, right? Our in the mud was drawing games, right? Arsenal's invincibles were built on draws, right? You draw 4 games or you lose. Sorry, you draw 3 games or you lose 4 games. That's winning you a league. Those 3 draws are winning you a league over a draw. So, but I do agree. My big worry at the moment is the fact that we've got to go to White Hart Lane and that we've got to go to Anfield, right? That's my big worry. That is my one thing that, look, Arsenal at the Etihad does not bother me one bit. Man United at the Etihad does not bother me one bit. Chelsea at the Etihad, none of those games bother me one bit. 3 points, all 3 of them. But I look at Anfield and the fact that Liverpool are going to be in the title race this year and they have 2 points on us. I'm kind of like, right now, league games, I don't feel we can be going and getting a draw at Newcastle. It has to be 3 points. And I think but I also think that'll be what Pep's looking at now. I think, Martin, you've got a good point that Pep will know, even if the media aren't talking about it, Pep will know what our form is. Pep will know, you know, we've won our last 5, unbeaten in 7. He'll be wanting that he'll be going, do you know what? The business end of the season starts now, boys, because we've got a lot. The fact when you talk about that run where we've got all those games, we need some serious form. We ultimately need to be going in that where all this talk of City in the mud, people can't even remember that. All people are thinking is, fucking hell, City are 12 games into an unbeaten run here. Like they're starting to really cook. And that's what going into that Liverpool. And so I think for me, it's a great time to play Newcastle without Joe Linton as well, because he's just a handful in the middle of the park that can really break up the game. And that's what Newcastle's fans want as well, because it picks them up. So
it's a weird one because like I looked at, because you know when you hear a load of noise and you're like, are we as bad as what we are? Are our performances as bad as? And you know when you think, is it me? Because sometimes I do sit there and I think, am I just being happy clapper or am I watching something different? So it's why I went away and I'm like, 10 away games this year, we won 6. More than anyone else in the league. Liverpool won 5 away.
Drawn 2.
So, yeah, us and Liverpool both at 19 points away from home.
Right.
We've scored more goals than Liverpool away. We conceded less. So, we're actually 5th best home record. Only played 9, but we're 5th. And normally it's our home record that we're actually relying on. Yeah. This season, it's the total opposite.
We haven't lost our skill as well, by the way.
That's the weird part, isn't it?
As well. 5th sounds really bad for us. 5th in home form.
Yeah, it's mad. But that we've only played 9 where a lot of others, because of that Brentford game, it sort of evened it out a little bit. So it's weird. We're 5th. But believe it or not, we've only gathered 21 points at home. Aston Villa have got the best record on 28. There's not normally a 7-point gap between someone else's best home record and ours. So it's actually our away one. So that's why I'm not scared of Tottenham away. Maybe we're doing it in reverse this year. We'll get the points at home and we'll go away and beat them.
Newcastle, yeah?
I think we'll beat them, yeah. Do I think it'll be easy? No, it won't be. Because Newcastle are a weird one. Because I think they're still on that crest of the takeover. They're on that emotional ride at the moment. That's why they're doing celebrations like the one FA Cup finals in front of their own fans. You know, they're still on that crest. And if City have played to their capabilities and they do, there's one winner.
Yeah, I'm confident going to the Newcastle game. I think we'll win. I do think it'll be difficult, as Martin says. I'm pretty sure there's a stat going about it. It says, I think we've scored more goals against Newcastle. We've won more times against Newcastle. We've had the most clean sheets against Newcastle, other than any other opponents. So you've got all that. So and obviously I know they are different now, obviously, since the takeover and stuff like that. They have got some good players. They have got a lot of injuries. Like speaking about Joelinton there, I think that is a big loss for him. He's a weird player, Joelinton, because I don't know what he is. Well, we know he's a midfielder now, but like when they signed him, he was a striker, and then they had to push him back. And I think that's done him the world of good because he actually looks like a very, very good player in that in how they're utilising him.
And Bruno together, they're nasty. Like Bruno is a great player, but he's a nasty.
How's the rate Longstaff? Because he's a weird one for me. He's a bit like he's good, but he's not going to be there in 4 years.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Good, but he's not there in 3 years' time.
Yeah,
I think all three of them. Bruno not as much, but I think with Joe Linton and with Longstaff as well, I think they're massive to Newcastle at home, right? Because they're the type of players that will put in a tackle that will lift St James's Park when it needs lifting. They're just like. So you take Joe Linton out, you're taking that out. They're weaker in the middle of the park. And when you're thinking, right, they're weaker. And to be fair, I'm kind of happy with De Bruyne playing because I wouldn't want Joe Linton up against De Bruyne because I saw him the way he was bullying Rico in the Carabao Cup. He's a nasty, and I don't want that for De Bruyne at the moment. Like every time De Bruyne plays, we're all going to be like every tackle a bit weary.
Yeah, we're going to be on edge.
Wrap him up in March is what I got.
Yeah.
Don't want to team for March. When you can't wrap him, leave him.
It's one of those ones now where I think we can look at this game and be realistic and say, look, this is a hard game, right? Even with their injuries, it's a hard game, but this is where we expect Manchester City the Manchester City that we know that just won 5 trophies in 7 months. This is where they also know it's a hard game and they just have to go there and get the job done. I don't care how we win it, right? Rodri handball, no problem, right? Can come off. Haaland's left bollock, don't care, right? Whatever, but just go and get it done. Because then ultimately, at the end of the season, the one thing we know is at the end of the season, you're not picking out those individual results. You're just going, we went on an 18-game winning streak. And that is how it is. That's the difference between us and Arsenal. Our mentality. We just get the job done by any means. Same with the Arsenal-Liverpool game. Arsenal will say how good they were against Liverpool. They just couldn't score a goal. Liverpool just went and got the job done. And that's what we have to do with Newcastle. Just go and be the Man City that we know and love, and we win it.
I'm glad we're playing Newcastle now because of
the one thing I will just to piggyback on that, we have to start making up points from last season on games that we dropped points in because obviously beat Spurs at home, beat Chelsea at home, not that it mattered because not play Chelsea at home, but beat Liverpool at home. So yes, we have dropped points and yes, we're still in the mix, but there does come a point where if you start replicating the results, so for example, last year didn't beat Newcastle away, that then is obviously a 2-point swing that needs to go in City's way this week, I think, in terms of, the numbers of it, because a point away at Newcastle is a very good result, but in the case of a title race, you probably need to sort of make up those drop points elsewhere in this half of the season.
Yeah, that's a shout. I think we should be confident in the fact of I'm glad we'll play them now than any other time in the season against Newcastle because, like we said before, they're in a bit of bad form now. I think they've only won 3 of the last 9 games, which is mad.
I think the first goal will be crucial.
Yeah. And the thing is, they'll be well up for it.
5:30 kickoff, of course they will.
Yeah.
I think,
The
boost we'll get as a team, I think, going forward, if we win this Saturday at St James's Park, will be huge because it probably is the biggest test we've had since before the Club World Cup. Goodison Park is definitely up there, but for me, St James's Park as a venue slightly pips it just because the nature of the Geordies and as Martin said, the crest they're on right now. So, like I said, the fixtures after St James's Park, with the exception of the FA Cup game against Tottenham, Premier League wise, are all very favourable. So. You win at St James's Park, you'll take a massive boost into that. Hopefully win those Premier League games, clean up the 3 points there. Easier said than done, but you'd like to think so. And then you're into that crucial stage. And you've got a good bit of momentum behind you at that point. You've won a lot of games. You've had tough games. So I think there's a lot riding on this game on Saturday night. I mean, Daps, you said you want to see the City we all know and love. The City we all know and love does feature Kevin De Bruyne. Does anybody think he starts this Saturday night?
No,
he doesn't.
No,
he doesn't.
I think Pep said that himself as well, didn't he? He said it's about minutes, just here and there, and building up. Sort of. I think I can't remember the exact quote, but Guardiola said something along the lines of the last thing we want now is a relapse. And I think not to be the buzzkill, but I reckon this season or the second half of this season for De Bruyne might be a little bit like I don't really follow American sports, so I might sound like an absolute idiot here, but they have like specialist kickers who come on, they'll bring a player on for a certain play and then they'll go back off. I reckon that could be De Bruyne this season, where he probably won't start 18 of the last 20 matches of the season or whatever, but he'll play when it matters, and I think we have the options to make that happen as well, which is another benefit.
Do you know what? I always look back at a particular moment, and I feel like over the last few years it's changed, and I haven't liked how it changed, right? And it was when we played Liverpool it was a Thursday night, it was January, it was the Sane Aguero goals. At the point we were going into, was it 2019?
Yeah.
And I remember we were third, but we had a game in hand. Tottenham was second, Liverpool were first. And De Bruyne was coming back from an injury. And my mate, who's an Arsenal fan, he came round to watch a game and he said, De Bruyne will be starting. I said, do you know what? Because De Bruyne was just coming back from an injury. And I said, I don't think he will, you know. He goes, of course he will. Pep will start him. I said, I don't think Pep will, because I think by doing that, it's kind of showing Liverpool and the rest of the Premier League, we need Kevin De Bruyne, right? We need to catch up with Liverpool. We're third. We need Kevin De Bruyne. And I think Pep will want to show some faith in the players that have got us to this position and not kind of look almost vulnerable without Kevin De Bruyne. And I think there might be an element of that, because we've got where we are, you know, and despite being in the mud, we're 2 points off Liverpool if we win our game in hand. We're in a damn good position, right? Without Kevin De Bruyne all season. We've got Phil Foden, who at last is being played centrally and is looking like he is thriving, being the one that people are looking at. Like, for me, Martin, you spoke about that Everton game, yeah? What I took from that Everton game over everything was that at 1-0 down, we looked like we weren't going to score. We looked like we were struggling to break down a low block team at Goodison Park, right? And I feel Arsenal have faced that a few times this season, recently. And their star boy that everyone says carries them was nowhere to be seen, right? Now, we were facing Everton, and we didn't. I couldn't see where the goal was coming from. And Foden picked up the ball, and Foden got the goal. Then we scored another two, but it was Foden that got that goal. And it wasn't, you know, a usual, maybe it is a bit of a usual City game, but it wasn't a well-worked goal. It was just he got it, drove at him, put it in the bottom corner, right? And that's Foden stepping up and saying, do you know what? We haven't got De Bruyne to do that now, so that's my job. And I think
coming of age.
He's showing. And this is when people say Foden's never stepped up and carried City. Do you know why? Because he's never had to. I remember hearing an interview where they spoke about him for England schoolboys compared to him at City, and how at City he's very humble because he knows the players he has around him and he's learning, right? Now, if you're at City and you've got all these players around you like he's had for the last 5-6 years, he knows he hasn't had to be that guy. But now it's like he knows, right, it's been on me because there's no De Bruyne to score that goal that's going to break the barrier. Then we can go and get more. So I think Foden's stepped up, and I think Pep will know that as well and go, no. Why would I possibly kill that momentum and risk Kevin De Bruyne? Why break something where at the moment, why change something when it's not broken? Now, I also think it's the beauty of having the fact that we can bring Kevin De Bruyne off the bench when the game is stretched, if need be. So I get it. I don't want to see Kevin De Bruyne thrown back in there. We all wanted to see him come back. We wanted to see that he is fresh. He looks fresh. But let's not just throw him out there. Let's have some faith in the other boys. Do you think Bernardo will start, though? Because hasn't he been...
As long as he's got over this flu or whatever it is.
Apparently they're back, aren't they?
Yeah, I know he flew out to Portugal after the Sheffield game, so I don't know if the flu thing was a bit of a... got the flu, but yeah. So in that case, so he'll come in. So I think it will definitely have to be for me, a Foden Bernardo thing then. Foden Bernardo.
I think Kevin will be on by half time.
By half time?
I wouldn't.
I really don't think. I think he's going to use him a lot more than what people think he'll be used.
What, from the start?
No, I don't think he's ready for 90. But I think you'll see, because like you look at Huddersfield, didn't play 10 minutes, played like 25 minutes.
I think that's probably more the fact that
an hour.
the matches in January are so slim, and by the time we get to Feb, and it is sort of these consequential matches, Champions League knockouts, etc., 2 games a week, you kind of need him to have them. You don't want to be doing that sort of integrating him at that point. I think if we'd had a match this midweek, he'd have probably come on for 15 minutes and he'd have played 20 minutes this week. But the fact we have 1 game a week, probably.
That's what I mean. That's why I think he'll play more than what people think. I think it'll be building up right now.
Dan Trice there said they're about 60 minutes. Dan Trice said come on at 60 minutes. And if it was to bring him on, he doesn't start, then yeah, I think around 55, 60 minutes you bring Kev on. But I could also see it the other way around, that Pep starting him and then taking him off at 60 minutes.
I mean, at what point do you start him?
Yeah, what point does it switch to starting games? Yeah.
When the fitness team know that he's fully,
But Daps has been running for about 2 months.
Oh, yeah, but there's a difference between running. There's a difference between like full match fitness.
The twisting and turning in intensity matches.
It's when does he begin? Like, you look at the fixtures. Tottenham in the cup, Burnley at home, and then
I wouldn't be risking him against Tottenham for me.
Everton at home,
30.
Copenhagen. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna probably want him by Copenhagen.
Not
Do we?
even.
No.
I reckon.
You don't need him for Copenhagen. Sorry.
I think you want to. I think with Kevin De Bruyne, because of you have to factor in how long he was out for. He was out for a long time. I think the best way to do it would be to just have a plan set out over the next 6 to 8 weeks so that you can have him fully fit and ready for the beginning of March when it really starts to matter. So you can confidently throw him in to start games. You could give him an hour by the 1st of February, kind of the first game in February. You could give him 70 minutes, whatever, or give him the last half an hour, the second half. You can change it up and chop it about a bit, but I think by the time you get to March, you want to have Kevin De Bruyne ready. I probably wouldn't start him anytime soon. I think I'd be bringing him off the bench.
I think the other thing is
having De Bruyne to come off the bench is huge. When you look at the games that we've struggled to see over the line, or games we've been in the lead and maybe things go a bit stagnant, we're running out of ideas. We've not had any options off the bench. Other than Oscar Wilde, with all due respect, you can't expect him to come on and change a game against Liverpool or Tottenham. Now all of a sudden you've got a Kevin De Bruyne to come off the bench.
Stretched. When there's more space for his passing,
back,
space to run into, it's the perfect type of games to come onto where it's, there is open space. And the beauty with Kevin De Bruyne is we've seen it. He's a game changer. He's someone that I've witnessed multiple times come off the bench and score goals, or put him even the other day. So I think it suits for him to come in like that. Of course, it would all change. Listen, if we're 2-0 down at half-time, Martin, I'm with you. I'm completely with you.
Because I don't think he is doing something. He came on the 57th minute against Huddersfield. Played 38 minutes. That isn't taking time to come back in. That's not 10 minutes.
But again, right, there's a difference between being, when he came on, we were 2-0 up against Huddersfield. Huddersfield
were kicking shit out of us, by the way.
Huddersfield.
They were.
This is why Kanji went off.
They were knackered. There's a difference between that and then they were. The way they were having to chase the ball left and right. They were knackered. There's a difference between coming on 2-0 and coming on 2-0 down. Or starting a game when, for the first the first 20 minutes against Newcastle, they are going to be onto us. They're going to be chasing every ball. They're going to be kicking the out of us, right? I don't want Kevin De Bruyne in that yet. I don't. Because I think
Huddersfield.
Yeah, but it's
kicking us up and down.
Yeah, but
it's not as much in the second half. It definitely died off. The first half was grim.
I was concerned when he came on because the way that Huddersfield plays.
I think he's going to.
Here's the thing: if you're 2-0 down, if you're 2-0 up, and someone's going in heavy in the challenges, Pep would have said, "Don't worry about it. Don't go." If if it's a 50-50 ball, don't go in for it. Let them have it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if it's 0-0 Premier League, 50-50 ball, Pep won't be telling him don't go in for it, right? So I think there's a difference. Again, with your hamstring, the type of injury a hamstring is, don't overstretch yourself for a ball. We're 2-0 up, right? It doesn't matter if it goes out of play. It doesn't matter because we're 2-0 up. Whereas if it's 0-0, oh, no, make sure you get that ball. And so
I think he was running at full pelt. The first thing he did against Huddersfield was run right down right down the line under belt.
I reckon to us it probably looks like that, but a professional knows when they're doing that extra 1%.
I'm just me, and maybe it's me. I just think he's going to play a lot quicker than fans. I think there's a little bit of fear in fans.
I don't think he'll play Newcastle.
Snap, we're out.
PSD, man.
And there's that fear factor coming in.
Yeah.
The doctors are not stupid. They would not have played him for nearly 40 minutes against Huddersfield if they did not think he was getting close.
Martin, are you near a table?
Yeah.
Is it wooden?
Yeah.
Touch it right now, please.
Seriously, I just think if it had done 10 minutes against Huddersfield, I'm with everyone. But it was nearly 40 minutes. That's not little.
The other one from the Huddersfield game is Akanji. I don't know what the injury is like. I haven't seen anything on it, to be fair. But
apparently he was going for a scan. But
right, so if he's gone for a scan, he probably won't be ready for Newcastle. So what do we reckon that'll mean? No Stones, no Akanji. Walker.
Diaz,
Vardiol, Ake.
It's going to be Ake, innit? We'd all love to see Vardiol centrally, but I actually think Vardiol's been having some really good games down the left recently.
I think he's getting some unfair stick, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think he's a bit of a fall guy.
Yeah.
It's a weird one. It's a weird one in the Akanji though, because he was the one that he stepped into the Stones role, basically pushing forward. And now we have no one to do that. So that's the concern, given that Stones and Akanji are both injured. How Pep switches it.
And against Newcastle, that's a really good shout, actually. Against Newcastle, we might need it.
Although it might just be nice having a back four rather than someone inverting. Do you know what I mean? Just an actual back four.
Everyone's going mad. They're all saying that. I've never said start Kevin against Newcastle. You want to know where to start him? Tottenham away in the cup.
Oh, no, Jesus.
My Newcastle straight into Spurs.
You know why? You imagine the highlight with Kev and Phil.
I don't want.
Imagine him coming off the bench for
Doku
that.
running behind.
Imagine it bringing him off the bench second half when the Spurs defenders have spent 20, 30, 40 minutes chasing shadows with Haaland. Imagine him getting to exploit that pace.
10,000 City screaming, "Oh, Kevin De Bruyne!" That's beautiful.
And the defense.
I'm actually looking at. I'm looking much further for when I think we need him, because the other thing is,
Amos isn't out in April. Amos has gone all the way.
I'm looking at this. Unfortunately, is scheduled for my birthday at the moment, but the Manchester derby on the 2nd of March. I'm looking at Liverpool after that. Brighton, Arsenal, Aston Villa. That's the time he needs to be. Yeah. He needs to be locked in by then.
Him for 2 months.
But you can use him. You can use him smartly, and you can make sure that he isn't overdoing himself.
So is it a little bit of fear though in your head? Is there that little bit of fear of if he goes again?
Of course,
absolutely, and that's why it has to be careful, because the guy was out for the best part of 6 months, and he's had surgery. That is, I've had surgery on my knee before. I've never had it sort of muscular, but those injuries are minging. They're horrible, and all it takes is boom, done, hamstring gone again, and then we're in the
muscle up around it. You have to build the muscle up around it slowly. Do you know what? Let's go back to that Wolves game 2 seasons ago, third from last game of the season, right? What Kevin De Bruyne did that game, no one else can do. Nobody else can do.
Yeah.
To this day, if it wasn't for Kevin De Bruyne, we would all, we love him or hate him. None of us really hate Raheem Sterling, right? We appreciate him for what he was, right? If Kevin De Bruyne was not on the pitch, I can honestly say after that Wolves game, I'd hate Raheem Sterling, because
the highlights are crazy. The highlights
was insane. The amount of chances that kid missed was insane, right? No one can do what Kevin De Bruyne does. Now, when you just listed that running, I was thinking about the fact we've got Liverpool away, Tottenham away, Arsenal at home, Man United at home, Chelsea at home. We've got Aston Villa. We've got Brighton. When you start piling those on top of it, these are the games where we're going to need Kevin De Bruyne so badly.
If you're going to do that, then I'd say you definitely need to buy someone in Jam.
Well, Kimmich is off the market.
Otherwise, you are going to run Alvarez so far into a ground, he'll be done for.
I reckon when Haaland comes back, though, Alvarez drops out a little bit, especially if Foden continues playing in the middle.
Who'd you play instead of KDB?
I reckon Foden can take that mantle up. We've seen.
With who, though? That's what I mean. Who's in that? Because in my head, I've got Foden with KDB.
Yeah.
Well, but you could have Nunes in there. I mean, I think City have midfielders when the issue is keeping them fit. I think if we suddenly start seeing a Kovacic go down for a month or a Nunes get another 2-3 week injury, then it is an issue. But that's the case every
I'm
season,
just thinking you've sold Phillips. Rodri's going to have to play nearly every game because then you've got to play Kovacic and Nunes. You can't. You've then got to play because Doku's then going to take up the left probably. You're then going to have Foden inside with somebody else, Alvarez. So Alvarez is playing every game. I just think then you would need to buy someone.
Look, I totally agree, but I think we know what this is by now, don't we, with City? I'd be very shocked if we sat here on the 31st, City having done business in terms of income.
Yeah, no, I agree with that now.
I do want to touch in a bit on transfers in a second, just for the last kind of 5-10 minutes of the show. But big up Trevor for the 70 months. Says, hi, JP. Haven't been here for a while. LB left, right. Yeah, LB.
Yes, it's JP. Trevor, sorry. Hi, I'm JP.
Yeah, Trevor. LB has gone to his own channel at It's LB. Do go and check him out and show him support over there. He's doing his thing. He's doing well as well. Big up to LB and big up to you. Lads, the transfer I want to talk about, it's not one I want to talk about. Myself and Jordan did a stream about it about an hour ago, but I want to get your thoughts on the latest rumor mill coming out of Spain. AS, I believe they're called, are saying Haaland, if he had to make the decision tomorrow, would go to Real Madrid. And there is a reported low release clause active this summer of like 85 million for Haaland to go to a foreign club. Florentino Perez wants Mbappe and Haaland. Some reports saying if they fail to get Mbappe, Haaland's their backup. Like, it's mental stuff. It really is mental stuff. I want to get some of your guys' thoughts. I know maybe we'll start with Martin, the calming old wise owl, because he's usually good at that. What do you think about the latest rumor mill?
Well, you said AS. When you say AS on Marco, I know it's Real Madrid PR, so forget it. Game over. Then they said Haaland's not going anywhere. Heard this with Aguero, heard it with David Silva, heard it with Company, heard it with Pep himself. I could name you about 10 players that have been apparently stepstone into Real Madrid and Barcelona. Yeah, they do get to Barcelona, but when we basically had the best out of them, they go there for a bit of a retirement.
No coincidence. They're going in for Mbappe. Yeah. Which means, as per usual, it's more negotiations and throw Haaland's name in to make Mbappe's team think, okay, so they do have a plan B. Do you know what? I think the thing is, I'll go back to it. First and foremost, it's the same as like everything else because what will happen now is all Real Madrid know they have to do is put that out there, and every City rival will make sure that agenda gets pushed, right? That's all they have to do. Put it out there. And, you know, it's like, for me, by the way, any non-City fans, 115, in 2024 just shows that you are losing an argument, right? That's it now. We don't care. Same with Haaland, right? You're pissed. You want to talk about Haaland leaving City. Guess what? He never chose your club, right? He chose our club. And more than ever, does he look like, we all saw him the whole world saw him on Saturday, how happy he looked, Sunday, sorry, how happy. Does he look like he's going anywhere? Or does he look like he's having the time of his life? He ain't going nowhere.
He didn't care it was the dog and duck. He was jumping.
No, he was gassed,
He
was
getting excited. Bro, he's not going nowhere yet. And do you know what? If he does, another thing I'll say, well, he won us everything. He completed football for us. So we don't care. It will be something that rivals will use to try and rattle us now. Oh, well, Haaland wants to leave you. Well, he never even wanted to join your club. He ain't going nowhere yet. Like, no way. No way. And by the way, I've also heard some good stuff on Pep as well. Someone I know outside the ground saw Varane and said, Varane, we love you and we trust you, but I'm worried about, like, as he was leaving the ground, I'm worried about what happens when Pep leaves. And Varane laughed and goes, that won't be for a long time.
Yeah, Pep's not going anywhere.
Pep's
not finding these young lads, send them on loan for 8 months to go. Oh, by the way, I won't be here by the time he gets.
Can you tell me a player? Like, I'm so bored of it. Like you say, Aguero, we've heard it on Bernardo Silva, summer in, summer out, right? We hear all of this nonsense. We can list on one hand the players that have left Man City that we didn't want to leave. right? Now, Vinny's one of them, to be fair, and he was nearly at retirement age. You know, people are happy here. Like Vinny said it in his interview, when you come to Manchester City, this club will give you everything you need to live a happy life on and off the pitch, right? The only way you leave is if you're probably not hitting the standards that we set. So I'm not worried about Haaland going. Really not. And realistically, what Real Madrid can afford to buy Mbappe and Haaland in the same summer.
Is this the money stream tonight? We're worried about Tottenham away. We're worried
I'm not worried about Haaland going.
We're worried about Pep leaving. Anyone up there? Just wondering.
Just you, Martin.
I'd be happy if this duck was shredded. That's why I'd be happy.
The stream has now come full circle.
Go on, Martin.
There's going to be a crisis video on shredded duck in the next hour.
Yeah.
I've got to heat it up now as well.
They're going to
wrap my pancakes live on the stream, but I can't. So.
Big up Simon for the 1 year membership. He says, I see the extra lads and my boys Daps and the are you the Gruffalo, Martin? You're a wise old owl, you're a Gruffalo, you're
who's the Gruffalo?
You.
You now.
You.
Simon's calling you the Gruffalo now.
And he says, welcome Amos. Haaland's going nowhere, guys. You are the MCFC Gruffalo, Martin. Love it.
Mine's old owl, Gruffalo.
And I think Amos needs to grow his hair a bit and get it dyed. And basically, he's got the Kevin De Bruyne hair there.
There we go.
There we go.
Much worse at football.
I reckon Amos could pull off a Jack Grealish hairstyle. You know, get him a hairband for these panel shows.
I used to play footy. I used to play footy in an Alice band, which didn't have the same effect when you turned up at five-a-side in I don't know where it was, Armitage Centre in Fallowfield, compared to when Grealish starts doing it at City.
I can imagine.
If I turned up to five-a-side with one of them bands, I'd get absolutely fucking roasted. I would get obliterated.
You'd have to have the air first to do that, Jordan.
I know.
I've got one when I did have it.
I've not got much hair left to pull off that one, so you're all right. Amos, enjoy the hair while you got it.
That's the only reason it's still here, mate.
So are we thinking Ake and Diaz centre backs? Then
yeah,
it's more than likely going to be them two with Vardol as the left back.
Would anyone agree over the last couple of weeks Ake's really stepped up again? Because he had a bit of a dip. Last season was unreal. No, well, last season, I'll keep saying it. Last season, I honestly think Ake might have been in our top 3 players because I'm talking the whole season. Everyone forgets the start of the season and how good he was, right?
That goal against Arsenal in the FA Cup was beautiful.
Yeah.
He had bigger fish to fry for a second year.
And how quick he took to playing down that left-hand side. And his partnership with Grealish was probably one of the most unspoken things last season. But I think this season he had a bit of a drop. But I think the last few games, he's been solid for us. Since coming back from the World Cup, the Club World Cup, I think he's been unreal for us. Like, really, really unreal. Okay. So, but now we've got 2 centre-backs out. If you think about it,
Ake is brilliant. He was brilliant against Sheffield United that day with the recovery.
Is anyone going for Calvin on Saturday night? Anyone having a better Calvin, just as you know,
just for a laugh.
Last time,
just a bit of a goodbye thing, you know.
Yeah.
No, it's really, no. He
had that
when he scored in the Club World Cup. We'll take that.
Yeah. His wave.
Do you think we'll leave him in Newcastle?
Goodbye. You don't need to see him in the
We'll leave him in Newcastle. Yeah,
you know, lock the doors on the bus. I don't think he'll play for City again, to be honest.
I don't think he'll play again.
I think where's he? He's most likely to go to Newcastle, isn't he? Isn't that the club?
They don't want to pay the loan fee though, do they?
It's whichever club stops trying to think City are a charity. Why do clubs think we're just going to give players away?
Give away players for free, yeah.
What is this?
Especially when you're owned by the Saudi investment fund. You can right off.
Hey, and then screw law. Paqueta gets injured for 5 weeks when the January window hits. Is anyone starting to think that Paqueta City thing is just destined not to happen anymore?
Yeah, I do.
You go the investigation to he's injured for 5 weeks, and you're like, damn. just not destined.
I'd love.
Sorry, that's one last thing. Just, I know you probably want to end the stream soonish, but Kimmich, I think I've seen today, Kimmich is staying.
Kimmich to PSG links as well.
I saw
What I got told was Bayern will not sell to City. There's a Kimmich is always what's to come. It's just City and Bayern are not best of friends, and it's there's now political issues going on.
Shock. Oh, so and I've that might be it. But if they won't sell to City, I would imagine they might not sell to PSG as well. If there's political issues, it's going to be the same thing about the money, probably.
Yeah, I think it'll be a summer transfer wherever Kimmich goes.
Is anyone really actually getting like us? Do you not think we're going for anyone?
I don't think we'll sign anyone.
No one.
No,
I think
I don't see who we sign. I think City would be happy to let Calvin go, and I know that there's rumours that we'll go into the market if Calvin leaves, but if Calvin goes, I just don't know who we'd go for.
There's only Paulinho then.
Yeah.
Oh,
that'd be a great signing. To be fair, I'd still back that signing.
Yeah, it would also stop Liverpool from getting him as well.
To me, he's the only one I can sit there and go, he's the only one left.
Yeah.
But the trouble is, you're looking at probably 60 million.
Yeah, you got to big cash. You'd hope to try and strike a deal where Calvin goes the other way.
Yeah,
but someone said earlier on yesterday on our stream, we'll get
chance.
Jordan Henderson. I think they were kidding, and I hope.
Could you imagine the fume though from Liverpool? I'd do that just for the fume off Liverpool. Their only title-winning captain in the last 30 years joining City. It'd be hilarious. Even not even to play.
We'd be calling him a City legend. City legend, Jordan.
City legend, yeah. Like would
imagine
Lampard.
He won more Premier League titles with City than
like Lampard when Lampard came and scored against Chelsea. Or Dennis
Lampard, Jordan Henderson joint trophy at the North Stand out back.
Call the new standard Jordan Henderson and famous stand after.
One's mad though, because if he leaves, then so basically when you go to Saudi, you have to stay there for 2 years to get your tax exemption. So if he leaves, he's gonna have to pay. Yeah, he'll have to give back. Like he'll have to give back a lot of money, and also the Saudis won't be happy with that because it doesn't make their league look good if players are going there enough like 6 months ago and actually kind of want to leave it.
I've not understood the Girona stuff. You know, when everyone's going, we're going to go to Girona and get this, that, name about 8 players. I'm like, so you aren't just going to go and take apart Girona.
Nah. Do you know what?
Do that game.
Do you know? I think we really wouldn't do that at the moment. I think there'd be more chance of us at the moment sitting, watching what's going on at Girona, especially with the Mac. They haven't spent a lot of money, and more watching that manager and go, no. We've got Pep. We don't need a manager, but one day we are going to need a Pep replacement. And I think the fact that the board know this manager, they're working with this manager. Khaldoon knows this manager, and watching what he's doing on a small budget. I think there'd be more chance of them actually going, now leave the players there, make sure no other clubs come in and buy those players, and let's build on those players and actually see just how good this manager is and see if this could be a future potential because they're playing good football. They're playing nice football. So I think there's more chance of City not wanting...
I think Yankuso will be the only one who'll come back, possibly. Because he's actually on loan in it.
What about that Savio guy?
Savio, yeah. Savinho, the winger.
Is he on loan from us, or did
he's on loan? Another City team, and I think it's another.
Or would we have to buy him?
Well, listen, this could lead to another 5 charges, Martin. So we probably shouldn't open that kind of one. Have you not seen that Argentinian player that we were as good as dead set on?
Valerie Banco.
Yeah, going Brighton.
But who said we were? I've never.
I saw loads saying.
I saw loads of things about Barca.
It was like as good as done with. We were loaning him back like we did Alvarez, and it was like as good as a done deal. I thought, and then I see Brighton are in for him now. Mad.
Did we even bid?
No, nothing official anyway. I think the latest is that City kind of turned away from it a few weeks ago.
Oh, really?
They kind of just went, we're going to step away from this now.
I reckon Brighton will have offered a biggest sell-on fee. I reckon Brighton will have whacked in a massive...
The thing is, as a young player, I think Brighton's an incredible place to go. Look at players. I love their model. players go there, they get a name for himself, and they get sold on for major cash.
Yeah.
It's working well for Brighton, and look at the prices they're getting for players. 115 mil for Caicedo is mad.
Everyone's saying attitude problems in the chat.
Oh, is it?
Oh, really? Okay, maybe that could be it.
Yeah,
maybe that could be it.
Good old.
They were talking about you there, Martin. I was going to say totally. Bloody Gruffalo.
The Gruffalo.
Wise old owl, ageist, attitude problems.
Martin, you're a legend.
Dead in the water tonight.
Listen, we're going to start wrapping it up now in an hour and 15. It's been a really good show. Guys, make sure you've hit the like button on the stream. Amos, the City Report podcast. Shout out what's happening over there and tell people to go over and check it out.
Yeah, of course. As usual, daily episodes Monday through Friday, 25-minute, bite-sized match reviews, news, previews, etc. All the lovely stuff wherever you get your podcasts from.
Yep, City Report Pod. Do go and check it out. I'm a big fan myself. Martin, the Mancunian Way. What's happening?
Loads. Got a show tomorrow or Thursday. I've got 2 shows. Newcastle preview where we're getting a couple of Newcastle fans on. And then we'll do got 2 shows right after back-to-back. And then we'll do our Thursday night chat. The channel has gone through a little bit of a refresh. Not if anyone's seen it. Brand new graphics, intros, outros, the lot. So, yeah. And we are 112 away from 3,000 now. So any help towards that would be much, much appreciated. Thank you.
112 people is all that's needed to get Martin to 3K. There must be a good few of you in the chat right now that aren't subscribed to the Mancunian Way. So do go straight over if you have the chance and just subscribe and show love to Martin and what he's doing over there. And then Daps, busy as ever over on Never a Foul. How's that going?
Yeah, man. Pacing myself. But we are live at 10 p.m, 10:15 tonight to We'll be talking on the Chelsea Middlesbrough game, but we're also going to be talking about who we actually think is going to win what this season. So yeah, people, if you haven't already, please subscribe to Never a Foul. Probably it's not all City, so it's quite toxic. And if I'm not on there, it's usually quite negative on City. So we need more City fans in there to tell everyone to shut their mouth.
Daps, I saw you take a party gal last week, and I loved it.
Oh, what was that? Where he all of a sudden wanted to talk about our squad being so much deeper than his. And I'm like, hold on a minute. All right. So let's do this. And started listing player for player. And he basically put 9 City players in a combined 11. I was like, clip this up and everyone remember this forever. You are never allowed to say that Rodri is better than or Saliba is. Yeah, mad. But that's Arsenal for you, innit?
It was great.
There's a little taste.
I enjoyed that one as well. I enjoyed that one a lot.
Some good debates over on Never a Foul, so do go and check out and support Daps over there when he's arguing with the rival fans. But like I say, do check out City Report Pod. The links should be in the description, or they will be after the show.
Yeah, they're already in there.
Go and help Martin to 3,000 as fast as possible. He deserves it on Mancunian Way, and of course Never a Foul as well. Listen, people, smash a like on your way out of this stream. Massively helps us. You'll catch myself and Jordy Porter here daily doing shows and all sorts of things. Watch along, I believe, is scheduled already for Newcastle on Saturday. So go
get these to 100k. That's what you need to all do.
100k. That's the dream, man. That's the dream. Hopefully one day soon, 100k. You guys can make it happen. Listen, enjoy the rest of your evening, people. I think there's Carabao Cup semi-finals on, so go and watch that if you're getting any withdrawals from footy. Good night and God bless. We'll see you soon.